Hey guys, back with another Maplestory video here. This time, another Lotus clear, our third run as a team. And actually, we have two new members from our previous run. We had two of our top 5 DPS actually end up quitting in the time span. Retiring. But we were able to have two fillers and they were able to hold their own. The Phantom, MMX 1X or 19 Roman numerals, and Legacy DA finishing in the top 5, and me all the way down there finishing 7th. Salty as hell about it, but really proud of the team. This was actually our best run by far. Guys really did a ton of DPS. Really hate them, but honestly it kind of is exciting to see that there's competition up there. We all about have the same gear, so really it's really exciting to see that I could go from 2nd, 3rd to 7th just like that, possibly 9th. But this was our best run by far of all of our runs in the past weeks. We had two newcomers, like I mentioned, and Zany returning in his 2nd ever clear. And to be honest, we actually failed 4 attempts before this, 4 full buff runs. We had hard time in phase 1 previously, but this time for some reason we took a few days off, reset, came back on a Monday, and actually smashed it. A few of us used Boss Rush Potion. I used it, still came in 7th, but really proud of the team. You can see our phase 1, our first minute in, we're chunking them down pretty good, already almost down to 50%, and that laser reverse almost got me right there. It's like, ended up dying anyways. I had a few junk deaths in this phase 1, but still finished off pretty good with phase 1 DPS overall. But you can kind of see on the real-time DPS meters, it's really close. We have a really strong core of DPS that know how to survive and do damage, and the newcomers really held their own and really took pride in their performances. So it really showed in this phase 1, but also in the final numbers as well. But you can see we're about almost 2 minutes in, and this time is for phase 1 still. Could be better. Me personally, as a team, I know everyone's looking for ways to improve, but overall we got actually cleared in under sub 4 minutes, which we've been consistently doing recently, and so it's really exciting to see our DPS. A lot of people are getting a lot better and staying alive, and so we right here are just trying to get through. This is our hardest part when we don't have any of our cooldowns, like I mentioned before. We don't have any benediction, so we're just kind of waiting to that 7-minute mark to survive as much as possible. We do go, the nice thing is we do have 2 phantoms with our, I'm gonna die again here, knew it. We do have 2 phantoms, so we do have res and then TL, so a total of 4 reses in phase 1. That is kind of our sweet spot right now. We need all of those reses, and eventually we're gonna need to probably switch off of 1 phantom. We're pulling in people from other guilds to support us, but they eventually are gonna have to help their own guilds get clears. So we're always trying to find extra ways and comps to still get the job done. So you can see right here, benediction's back up. All of our cooldowns are back up. You see my echo, my hammers, my weapon aura all came back up. We all got rezzed, and we're just trying to DPS. Everyone's just trying to stay alive. The fast lasers are insane at this point. But overall, during this phase, we do a really good job of surviving and doing DPS. You can see on the meters, a lot of us are right there doing over 100 bill DPM on the boss, which is really, really good. And we're going to finish it off here in about 3:45 for the first phase. I do end up topping the meters, not to brag or anything, but it is short-lived because, well, you saw the final DPS charts. It wasn't pretty. But phase 1, topping the charts, I'll take it, and then it just falls apart after that. But it is crazy to see where everyone stands after this phase 1 and what the final phase 2 and phase 3 looks like. It's completely different. People are jockeying for position on the rankings. You'll see people kind of in the middle end up pulling away at the top. You'll see the people at the top, besides me, pulling away from kind of the middle pack. So it's just fun to see, watch back just how any misplay, a death, in my case, I mismanage my V2 hammer skills, so I lose a ton of DPS. Positioning, knockbacks, charges, just anything to interrupt your DPS really kind of shows when the numbers are so close over a 9-minute, 10-minute fight. But you see this phase 2, we're going to finish it off right here with over 5 minutes to spare. And this is usually our, a little faster than normal. I'll say about 30 seconds. But to be honest, this is kind of our sweet spot. We've been getting to phase 3 with about 4:45 left. And previously, in previous runs, we didn't have the single target DPS. We had a few deaths in phase 3 in previous runs that kind of didn't allow us to clear. And so I was really proud of the team. We were very frustrated in the previous runs that we got to this part and we had a few deaths and didn't get the job done. But here we actually do really, really well dodging and doing DPS. And you'll see by the charts as my name starts to go down, down, and down, people's ones are going up. Everyone does consistent, great damage. And it's really, kind of a DPS race, DPS check here. And I blunder a ton in this phase 3. I drop my hammers once, twice. I don't even have it up at the end of the fight. I lose about 45 seconds, I think, which is a lot of damage for me, and kind of the difference between why I finished, where I normally was, where, here I'm in the 3rd spot, 4th spot for most of the fight, and then I'm going to finish 7th. So kind of just a good, humbling experience for me. I was getting a lot of crap from the guildies and the guys because didn't know how the heck it happened, how I ended up in 7th and didn't do as much DPS. But to be honest, it was more about what other people did. Yeah, I made mistakes, but it's more give credit to the rest of the team. They put out their DPS. They did a lot better than they did in previous runs. And so props to them. And, the next run, we'll try to get back up there. But you can see about 3 minutes in our cooldowns, like the echo is coming back up, or just came back up, our hammers. And so we're all doing crazy DPS. Our shadower and our shade at the top are jockeying for number 1 position. Everyone in the middle is, doing insane DPS as well. Threat RNG was pretty good, but you can see we're kind of just dodging a lot of stuff. You see me charging in and out. We had, I think, 1 purple orb phase in this entire phase 3. So pretty fortunate. We had a few electrocution phases, but I was able to stun it. And in my next video, I'm going to talk about, it's going to be a Lotus guide. Here's the purple orb phase right here. A Lotus guide, kind of a 5-minute quick guide on what to expect and what to do and the mechanics of Lotus. So be on the lookout for that. Subscribe and, so you can see that video if you're trying to test out, practice Lotus. But here we are, kind of 2.5 minutes, left, and we're already at the B in Berserk Lotus. So that's much better than what we've been doing previously. And so I don't know what everyone's DPS was doing, what they were doing. Everyone was just locked in. And you'll see that I'm still hanging in there, 3rd and 4th spot. But as my cooldowns come down, I just fall off. But it's good to see, everyone did a great job where no one's dying. I don't think anyone died in this phase, allowing our phantoms to go full DPS and not having to res or use TL. There's platforms again right there. And I'm just going to stun it. So no one is actually going to the platform. We're all just focusing on DPS. And it just skips that electrocution phase right there. We do have double split, so that does help certain classes put out more DPS. But you can see right here, my big misplay, wondering why. I was trying to figure out why I did so little DPS or finding ways to improve. It's right here. My hammers fall off and at like the 115 mark, and I never actually notice it. I don't bring them back up at all, not even at the end. So lost a huge chunk of DPS. I did it earlier in the fight as well. Huge misplay by me. I don't know what I was doing, just focusing on a lot of things, trying to dodge and do callouts. But you can see even with echo back up, my big hammers were not spinning, did not even notice it. And that, that cost me, or that's why my DPS fell off. So props to the team, really proud of them. Congrats to the first timers. This was a good learning experience for me. It's always fun to watch back and find ways to improve. But in the next video, I'll have a Lotus guide up for phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. And it'll be short, concise. So check that out. Subscribe if you can. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.